All right, this is a reaction video to Scott Forrest Gump Voice is what I call him. And what he has is, since he doesn't even have a high school education, he lost Andy and I as taxpayers here in Lake Forest a lot of money. And the city in the next 3 to 5 years is going to do deficit spending. It never should have done. They never should have done that. Never should have gone to deficit spending. And they have disaster developments. Parkside, it's owned by the Chinese. It's empty. Baldwin Brothers Development, it's on a toxic waste dump, and the cost is going to be a disaster. But so you understand where we're coming from with this reaction video to the ridiculous lies he told on Tuesday. We're going to show you, we have him here, Andy O'Connor, a video that will lay out a lawsuit where Scott Boyce lied to all of us, and we're going to prove it to you. And he stole $150,000 with a fraudulent settlement, fraudulent lawsuit. Now, we're going to have Andy here, and he's going to tell you pretty much exactly what happened. If it'll play. Yeah, let's do it over here. You know. It's just you see things nice in Lake Forest. Doesn't mean things can go down quick or can go south quickly. Ask people in Flint, Michigan. City of Bell used to be a nice place. I used to live in Hawthorne, Torrance. Those used to be nice areas. But because of corruption, right? Local political corruption is not a victimless crime. As beautiful as this place is, because of the mismanagement, the corruption, you have Baldwin construction project on a toxic waste dump. Parkside is owned by the Chinese government, right? It is empty, right? And the cost is going to be a disaster. Now, how does that happen? You have a city councilman who doesn't even have a high school diploma, and he's running the city into the ground. In 3 to 5 years, there's going to be deficit spending. How does that happen? We have Andy O'Connor here. We're going to tell you why it's happening, why you should get involved, because now with COVID-19, the whole world has changed. The economy has changed. So we'll give you a baseline right here at his epic public comments a couple of weeks ago.
Voice says, I love Lake Forest. I'll do anything for Lake Forest. I love Lake Forest. Can you explain to us why you sued the city under Orange County Superior Court case number 30? Why you claim $550,000 against the taxpayers of Lake Forest for a leg injury at Pittsburgh Park that's questionable? I gave the timeline here. September 2017, right there, Thomas Wheeler.
Well, we're going to stop it there for a second and interject. This is a reaction video. He sued for $550,000. Or for $550,000, he got $150,000 settlement, but now more questions. There's when you go to the Superior Court website, there's a payment of $187,000 to defend the lawsuit. We don't even know what it is. We thought it was to defend the lawsuit. Now we know different. Now you go to the city's bank account where you can see, and you can see a payment out to this law firm, and it says to defend the lawsuit. Now, the last meeting, they said that all lawsuits go blindly to the insurance carrier, and they defend the lawsuit, and they decide if there's a settlement or not. So when you lie, right, it's hard to track with your lies. So there's a lot more questions. It's more than what the settlement is.
For the issue, it took March 22nd, 2018 for you to break your leg. The same day, the city awarded a contract for the repair. What a coincidence, Mayor. August 30th, 2018, you filed a claim to the city 5 months after your injury. On January 29th, 2019, you filed a lawsuit. 10 months after the injury. This October 14th, a hearing was made for summary judgment in your favor. December 14th, 20th, notice of dismissal,
Back
the city
it
paid.
up there. At his initial part of it in August, everybody should have known by now, right? What's going on? I'm talking about Deborah Rose, Mal, and the city council. Remember, here's kind of skewed, but constitutionally, the only people who can make decision about taxpayer money is elected officials, because we live in a representative democracy. But in this case, the city manager makes $350,000 salary and another $100,000 in benefits, and each council member makes $8,700. So it's set up for the city council and BBK, which is the city of Bell, former city attorney. They bill around $3 million a year. So it's a mismatch. It's easy for the city manager and the city attorney to manipulate these part-time workers, which should be full-time.
Over $550,000 for a questionable injury that I don't think you sustained. Bob Holtzclaw's right here, and he said that you told him over at Commerce Center your leg injury is because your dog pulled you out of your wheelchair. But you changed the story that you tripped on a small little divot in the concrete. And our city attorney hired a crappy lawyer out of Irvine to represent the city, never brought any witnesses in. Not one witness. Bob could have told you. I could have told.
We can stop it there. We did a great podcast with Mike Prestonisi. It's horse racing true crime. But we interjected ADA because he has an ADA company, and he went through the lawsuit, and there's many holes. They did a horrible job. This is the information we had right now at this point. They're supposed to be transparent with us, but we've had to do our own investigation for you. So you know why Kids Factory, instead of being $60 a month, is now $600 a month.
Garvey could have told you. Randy Johns could have told you.
Excuse me, Randy, your time is up.
All right, so that's an ACLU violation. They got very upset at him doing that. Andy, right there at that point, had another 30 seconds.
22
Your
seconds.
time is up. No, it's.
Okay.
Right, so Andy got under her skin, rattled voice at that point. He thought he was 30 seconds over when he was 30 seconds under. So now Andy's in a hole here, right? With time that this dodo is not going to get back, violating Andy's civil rights.
But the city manager never reported.
Oh, he keeps interrupting him.
Council this lawsuit. Never told city council the settlement. But I'm going to get it because I submitted an Lake Forest public records request. So voids.
So this is anti-constitutional, right? Because only elected officials are supposed to make decisions with taxpayers' money.
You have to come clean. Why did you? And is a mandate. Mandated reporter, insurance reporter, I have to report fraud, waste, and abuse. You, sir, committed fraud, waste, and abuse against your insurance carrier. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to make this into a podcast, so you can listen to, for people listening on the podcast, the city councilman cursing. They brought up several times mandated reporter mocking him because you don't start mocking people. This is inside your head.
Next speaker is Randy Johnson.
I'll go ahead and play this because this one shows how insecure Scott is and grovel.
Johnson, Lake Forest resident. Normally I get up here and stick to the topic. I don't focus on person. Between 15 and 20 seconds left on my public comment back on June 1st, item number 11 on the marijuana lab issue, okay? And you cut me short. You interrupted me, okay? We have a right when we come up here by law to the full 30 seconds. I sent you an email and I asked for an apology and you ignored me. You did not get back to me. That's the only reason I'm here today, because apparently you have a real problem owning up to responsibility when you do things wrong, sir. And I expect an apology from you for what you did, for interrupting me when I had time on the clock, and then I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, they always think they're above the law. Now, watch the insecurity and the groveling and the weakness.
Take your position, okay? Because you're not, sir, you're not fit to be mayor of the city of Lake Forest. Thank you.
So, Randy, I actually do owe you an apology, and I apologize. It was you taking.
Now, Andy pointed this out. Mike Versinisi was very upset about this. You're not supposed to wear a hat when the American flag's in place. And during the Pledge of Allegiance, right? You never do that. He did it. Look how he's dressed. He doesn't care, right? He thinks the 150,000 he got it's end all be all. But we live in Southern California. 150,000 does not last that long, especially when you're buying Mercedes SUVs like he does.
But the fact that when I push my mic here, my timer goes off. So that's what it was.
You know, you guys got him with that scheme because they didn't do it last time. But this is a complete disaster. So before we go to his reaction video, do you have any thoughts, Andy? Andy O'Connor, 30-year resident taxpayer of Foothill Ranch, California.
Well, I just presented facts. You know, I had the facts from his first claim to the city for $550,000, and that 50,000 was just for medical. 500,000 was just this gray area general. Okay, so that's pretty significant. And then he already had health insurance.
Right.
You know, he has health insurance, so there's no reason for the city to pay him $50,000. That's
right.
Ridiculous. So after that, he found a lawyer. They filed the case in the Orange County Supreme Court over in
Well, supposedly
Superior Court, excuse me, in Newport Beach.
right.
And they accepted it. They went through the process. They had a agreement, and then they got whittled down from 550 to 150. Scott gets 135,000. The wife gets 15,000 for consternation, and I don't know what her issue was, but it's obvious now if you go by the house, they have two Mercedes-Benz SAVs parked in the driveway, and those are both $40,000. So he might have leased them, I don't know, but it looks like he had a pretty good payday and spoiled the family, the wife and the daughter, with the SAV. So,
well, the problem with it is if Scott made a big sale, I'll be like, wow. Even though I don't like the guy, I would say, wow, how did he do that? Let me learn from Scott, the great businessman. But no, it's taxpayers' money obtained fraudulently. He's a pathological liar from a long time ago, and we'll show you. So now we're going to go to his pathetic response. All right.
so now I say it's lied, denied, and now he cries.
Right.
So I brought up in the city council the actual documents and everything. He denied it, said it never happened on the July 20th council meeting. And then he lied again. And now that we've got all the facts, now he's crying.
Right.
And watch him cry here.
He's a anti-personality disorder. Now, we'll read through what anti-personality disorder is, and we'll break down his lies. Let me get this back here.
That false statements that have been posted about me, my wife, and my minor daughter on social media. I feel a need to respond to the recent statements posted and have been spread about me, my wife, and my daughter. While I am a public service and proud of it, and I have put myself in the public eye, there are limitations. And
Now, I want to give context to that because he needs to be specific. True Lake Forest Washington discussion page, we're watching right now, people on the podcast, we've got a really good audience. It's kind of shook him up. So when he says that his daughter and his wife's being attacked, a lot of people are going to think me or have thought of me because I attacked them. Now, the reason I attacked them is I was going on my happy-go-lucky way. I really didn't know these people, and I'm just getting signatures for a recall of councilman. You know, just democracy, First Amendment rights. And Dwight Robinson goes on social media and calls me a pedophile. I'm a man with a clean criminal record, have 2 master's degree securities licenses, and he's spoiling my name in the community needlessly. I'm lucky that I have clients all over the country and here in Southern California. That didn't affect me, but who isn't as fortunate, lucky, and good as I am get afforded that. Then afterwards, he called me a thug from Compton with no evidence, right? No evidence. So when you fire back, they start crying, right? They can dish it out, but they can't take it.
Well, the other thing, Scott, Josh is what White says right here in the video. He says these are rumors about me and his family.
Right.
First of all, it's nothing to do with his family. It has to do with you, Mayor, and they're not rumors, they're facts.
They're facts.
This is the whole lie denied that he said he even filed a lawsuit.
Right.
Okay, so he lied, denied, and now that it's come out, now he's turning it around. Number one, calling it rumors.
Right.
Number two, he's saying his wife and his daughter's involved. He's not involved. He's sucking them in with this whole victim thing. So it's not.
He's actually using them as
exactly
to inspire sympathy.
Exactly. He's using them as a smokescreen.
Yeah, the
So-
despicable human being that he is.
So let's listen to more of his epiphany here.
Invitations included the family members. Okay, my wife and daughter did not choose to be in politics, but they support me in my effort and my longing to make a difference for this city, for this nation.
He hasn't enjoyed it to the
and
ground.
that we are in this nation. These kind of rumors and attacks that have been laid against my wife, my daughter, and myself are wrong with politics. That is exactly what's wrong with politics. Nobody's saying a good thing about the people that are trying to do good work. You don't do anything. And the fact that he makes it harder for all of us to do good work, but I try to live my life with a set of values and a purpose to be the best husband, father, and person I can be. The attacks on my wife and daughter
That's when somebody says trust you, that's when you know not to trust them.
are wrong and they need to stop. I also need to respond to some false statements about my injury and legal claim. The injury myself, I injured myself badly on a city sidewalk, breaking my femur right above my right knee. The injuries were made worse and the recovery was more difficult because I am a paraplegic. My accident resulted in time in the hospital, a surgery, therapy, prescription, and I was unable to drive, so I was not able to go to work. My wife had to drive me around when it got stable enough to be moved around. My wife and daughter were forced to promote.
All right, let's stop it right there. Some people get fooled by the fact that he's in a wheelchair. And it also has to be like Thomas. That Thomas had to see Jesus's wound to believe it, right? So if you want to see the lawsuit, you can message us. We'll send you the settlement. But to give you a visual, we'll give you a visual right now. Right? That is. And we'll go through the evidence and get Andy's reaction, right? That's the lawsuit
Says right there, Scott Voigt's, Stephanie Voigt's.
against the city of Lake Forest.
Right, there it is.
So he's the mayor of the town suing the taxpayers, suing himself. Like Andy said, the city loves the money. March-
$550,000 he wanted.
Right. March 22nd, 2018. Now he said he was injured badly. That his wife and them have to put everything around. And we gave you the dates of the lawsuit, right? So he's injured badly. And I'll give Andy a choice. We can wait till the end, or we can react to it. I'll show it twice, so it drives home to you, right? So he's injured so badly that 2 months later, right there, July 23, 2018, he's at the Brad Paisley concert with all these people around, right?
Yeah, so
You
2
know?
months later, There he is at the, at a concert,
Right.
smiling with his wife. And his
Right.
wife wants to sue the city too. She's got her hand in the money pile. Come on, give me some money, give me some money.
Well, I own a business, right? So I only have so much time for this, but there is workers' comp out there. So supposedly he was walking his dog and the dog pulled him off the chain. Is the story he tells us. I don't know how he's gonna pull that he was working too. That he was doing city business, or I don't know. I gotta see what the claim is because he's doing it with taxpayers' money.
Were forced to provide around-the-clock care for me, which was physically and emotionally difficult for me and both of them.
She looks fine to me. And that picture of the Brad Paisley concert.
Without the help of my wife and my daughter, who have taken care of me, I would not have been, I have been stuck in an assisted living home for a time to recover.
Until the Brad Paisley
My wife
concert.
Right.
had to lift me from my bed in a hoist to get me on the wheelchair so I could just make it to go into the restroom. What she went through is heaven sent because I've been blessed. You're only as good as those that are around you, and I've been blessed. The claim for my accident was handled and paid for by the city's insurance, just as other claims filed against the city every year. Just because I am a city councilman does not mean that I don't have the same rights as any other resident of the city of Lake Forest. I was seriously injured, and I had a long and difficult recovery. The law provides a process for this, which I followed. The settlement I received from the city's insurance company helped to pay for my injury, my hospitalization, surgery, and recovery. So the fact that everybody's claiming.
Everybody. Who's everybody?
Is the atmosphere that is actually what's wrong with America today.
You're what's wrong with
It's a
it.
cancel culture style, and it just needs to stop. So thank you.
So can I comment?
Yeah. So what's your reaction to that dribble?
Okay, so he's playing the victim, The thing is, folks, as I said in my video on July 6th, he told 4 people that his dog pulled him out of his wheelchair.
Right.
I'm not denying he had an accident. I'm not denying he broke his femur. I'm not denying that. Okay, how can I? He went to the hospital, the record's there. I'm bringing up how it happened. Okay, he
Right.
told 4 people that his dog pulled him out. Now, after all this happens, it seems like him and his wife concocted this story, okay, as I've given you dates, and they turned this thing around, and they're going to sue the city for $550,000.
Right.
And they're going to see how far they get with it. So what happens? They had a settlement hearing, and I guess they decided to settle for $150,000, which is still not right because it was an accident caused by his dog. And then
Right.
what's he say here? He needs that money to pay for his hospital bills. He doesn't have to pay for that. He's got health insurance.
Right.
So again, he's weaving the facts wrong, and it shows his inability on how to do things.
Right.
So he's saying, okay, if that's the case, Mayor Voigt, show us the invoices that total $150,000. If you got a $150,000 settlement, show me the invoice from the hospital, from the doctor, from the neurologist, from the anesthesiologist, from the ambulance company that totals $150,000. Because you can't. Your insurance company paid for that. So you and your wife walked away. Your net after your lawyer took this money was $105,000.
Right.
You on this thing, you walked away with $105,000 in just you got a check in December of 2020. And just coincidentally, when you go by your house, there is not 1 but 2 Mercedes SAVs in your driveway. Probably
Right.
1 for your wife and 1 for your daughter.
So I'm wondering if the $187,000 so far should descend because the insurance company sued. So now they're getting evidence from us. So now we'll provide some context so you know what we're talking about. This time what we're gonna do so you get some context is that the problem is he's a habitual liar, right?
Well,
Here
let me say
is
one more thing
yeah,
on this. He, you know, as he wraps this up, he points a finger back to politics, the cancel culture. Cancel culture's got nothing to do with this discussion. Nothing to do with it. Why he's pulling cancel culture is just, again, he's flailing around out there because he knows what he did, and he's just grabbing for anything.
He's trying to provide a distraction.
Right. He says, "Oh, cancel culture, it's got to stop." You know, smart people can figure out Mayor Voigt's got nothing to do with cancel culture. This is really straightforward. Okay, you got hurt, your dog did it. That's over with. Why are you concocting a story and going to the taxpayers, me? Okay, and you say, "Well, don't worry, Andy, the insurance company for you." You don't think the insurance company's gonna come back and jack up our premiums?
Or sue you, because they sue the city now. There's more money going down the drain.
So if the premiums go up for that, we can't have other activities in this. I mean, small things that you cancel the calendar, you cancel doggy bags in the parks, you cancel, you know, Kids Factory budgets reduced 90%. You know, all these ridiculous people, "Oh, I don't care." Well, I do care,
Right.
because it takes money away from other areas.
And it explains why we're going to be in deficit spending 3 to 5 years, right?
And then another thing, Councilman Pequeño from District 5 and Servo from District 1, you know what their reaction was? Wasn't on our watch. We were sworn in November 2020. This happened before, it's not on our watch. And I says, "Well, the settlement was paid under your watch. You should ask what's going on." And they had no answer to it. So,
Well, the problem with that, right, it's a culture of corruption, quid pro quo. So what you have here are people that also put money in the pockets of the campaign of Servo and Pequeño, right? You got BIA, Sunpack, Brookfield, and what they do is, instead of what's best for the taxpayer, they're doing what's best for them. Now here's Don Wagner. He's Board of Supervisors too. District 3,
North Orange County.
Yeah, he's employed Scott
for years.
20 years, and he's ignored the settlements for sexual harassment, physical harassment by women. Now, I don't even know how he gets away with it with Me Too, but I don't think he can get away with it much longer, as he's going to be a run for his life next time, right? So Scott Voice tells stories. Why? My wife's a psychotherapist, but I have the DSM, right? And he's classic. It's 3% of the population. Antisocial personality disorder, lack of remorse, frequent lying. So we've seen him now at the city council, keeps lying.
Lying and denying. Even with facts there, and he knows the story, facts are there, and it's all about him. He's flat out told to me right there on the dais, under the thing that says trust in God, he lied about it and denied it.
Right. 3% of the population is this. This is from dialectical statistical model. So 5 out of 7 means you got it. He's got 4 so far. Superficial harm, we'll show you that right now. Lack of positive emotions. He is kind of stoic in their own way. Distorted sense of self, right? And constant source of new sensation. And that's why Andy explained to me why this Mercedes SUVs, and why he takes cash for city council votes. Maybe he doesn't need it. He knows it's kind of dangerous and risky, but he likes that constant source of new sensation, right? And we'll show you this video, and then we'll get a reaction from Andy. And this is him telling stories and kind of demonstrating that personality. Now, this is 8 days after the accident. So that's something to look at too, right? He says he was hurt badly. He looks fine to me.
My wife thinks the garter that the damn gate open, I'm sorry, but.
You hear the crying thing again?
Yeah,
The fake crying?
there he is.
This is 8 days after that accident. He looks fine to me. $950,000 worth of medical injuries.
He left me up and my dog was out, I was panicking because he's part of my family and we couldn't find him. I raced home, like you know how, I was flying that day, and secure our streets, press conference.
So.
Both of the statements
Yeah,
and the settlement.
your reaction, Andy.
Well, you know, I feel sorry for the guy. I really do. I mean, I feel sorry that he's a paraplegic. you know what? Google Brian Pangrazio. Just Google it, folks. Brian Pangrazio is a friend of mine back in upstate New York. He's a paraplegic also. He was coming home one night, hit a tree, and bad car accident, became a paraplegic. But go read his story and see what he's done in his life. It's phenomenal. He's really a great human being. However, when you compare that to Mayor Voigt and the shenanigans he's pulled, it's like, don't give me this, you're a paraplegic. And because you're a paraplegic, these things happen. Because just compare it against Brian Pangrazio, it's totally different.
And we're gonna play you one more video, and then we'll have closing thoughts. All right. This video is a while back. Again, we're showing a pattern. Because what is it, right? You forgive people when it's a pattern that's hurting people. And you say, how does it hurt? Middle-class families, they're getting hit with after-school care. The after-school care program here in the richest country in the world, in the richest state in the world, and one of the more wealthier areas in the state, the after-school program was $60 a month. Because of their mismanagement, right? It's now $600 a month. Also, Scott voted against having school guards. And regardless,
Crossing guards at the street.
yeah, crossing
He
guards.
says that that's the school district's responsibility, even though the city has been doing it for 30 years. Again, they're looking at the budget, and he's taking out the big red pen and says, well, let's make the school district pay for this. We're not paying for this. Well, I'm an educator. And always the general thing is the school takes care of things within the campus, and from the wall to the street, that's the city or the county to take responsibility.
Right.
Voigt is just taking out his red pen and saying, nope, I'm not going to pay it, but it's okay for us to pay him $150,000. Come on, folks.
Right. And the other thing is that at the local level, all these platitudes and philosophy, go on fiscal conservative, we're not going to pay. Look, you need to get things done. Just make it happen, especially if you have the money to protect the kid from a child predator. That's it. You don't need to, especially a guy like that who doesn't even have a high school diploma. Leave it alone. Get it done. Protect the kids, right? You do whatever to protect the kids. You're not even a board supervisor. You're not a congressman. You're not a senator. You're just a city councilman, man. Just get it done. Stop trying to big time us, right? And we're going to show you this video. Again, pattern of lying. This is about 2 years ago. And then we'll close.
Here he is again. He's the mayor, okay, the head guy.
More lies.
The first one, he says he attended school in Sound Lake Valley. And I've asked him numerous times, please advise the date, the school, the graduation, and pre-earn. I'm asking Pro Temp Mayor Basil to make our mayor accountable to these 5 points that you have here in front of you. One of them is when you attend schools in Sound Lake Valley, it should be easy. Development of commercial properties along Bay Dalton Parkway. What you did do is you changed the commercial on the corner of the Commerce Center for commercial to residential. Is what you did, Mr. Mayor. Fiscal responsibilities. The residents keep getting increases from the Orange County Sheriff's Department. Have you once challenged the Orange County Sheriff's Department? And can you provide competitive bid policy to save the taxpayers money? Next, you talk about community safety. Do you ever notice the loitering at the corner of Toronto and Orange? And what have you done about this? Next, address city needs. Completion of Portola Parkway, right here. Now, this should be a no-brainer, seeing your real money with the mayor of the city of Irvine. Why hasn't anything moved forward on this? You talked about it. Give us an update, report to us on it. Exhibit number 2 is the city of Irvine year-to-date hours worked by Scott Voigt. Well, what do we have here? 390 hours of work. And you're averaging 10 hours a week. Okay, divide that by 6 days, 5 days a week, excuse me, that's 6 hours a day. I believe you're spending more time in the city of Irvine than you are in the city of Lake Forest. Sir. And what else is interesting, you always want to talk to the representative from El Toro High School, no charges, buddy. But you voted against Proposition 54, which would have funded Sound Lake Valley Unified School District. And if Proposition 54 would have gone through, we would have been bankrupt as a school district. So that's the real Scott voice. And Mayor Pro Tem Basil, please ask him to report back on his 5,000 estimate. Right? A very simple starting off with what school can go to the Sound Lake School District.
Your reaction, Andy, more
Well,
lines.
some people say, Andy, just, some people say, so what, Andy, it's a big thing about education. No, that's true. They say, some people, really had a good life and things like that. It's the point of the thing. He says these things that are not true. And it's a pattern over and over again. All right. And it's black and white. And now we've got this lawsuit. Denied, lied, and cried, I call it, because we caught him red-handed, in fact, and there's, countless other things that he's voted on in the council. He says he doesn't want more traffic and noise and crowding, things like that, but what's he do? He approved the 700+ homes from the Nakasae nursery. He approved the Serrano Summit, that's another 600. He approved Portola Hills, Iron Ridge, that's another 300. So what happens is he approves all these things, and about 4 years later, or after they're built, they come to fruition, people come to the council meeting and say, what the hell is going on here? Okay, because they don't know the whole process. And Voight is like, well, sorry, we voted on that 5 years ago and the houses are built, there's not much we can do. And I took some money from the developer for that vote.
Right.
And then the other thing with Nakasae, August 2019, they made a PowerPoint presentation to the city council. We're going to build there's going to be an elementary school right on the corner. So of course the city council says, well, that's great. We'll vote for it. Guess what, folks? When you go to the website, it says the meadowslakeforest.com. There's no mention of a website. So if your kids go to Foothill Ranch Elementary, they're going there. And if your kids go to Lake Forest Elementary, they're going there, which means more traffic on your streets. That's what it means.
Right. And shame on Lake Forest for showing apathy and having a guy without a high school diploma making decisions. Because the other side of it is, again, like I said, Andy and I are old. We've seen things go south really bad at some places. When I lived in Hawthorne, it was really nice. And then maybe 10 years later, it was a war zone. So a guy with a high school diploma like this guy, right? A short-term thinker, he's easily manipulated, right? We have Sean Steele, who's in trouble. He's going to be indicted for China, right? He donates to Scott's campaign all the time and tells Scott what to do, and he's overmatched. He is overmatched against this guy. The Nakazi is Toll Brothers, and Toll Brothers, hey, they have a huge problem right now but they're with China, right? And then to show even more that he's not the brightest star in the sky, right? He still has on his Facebook page. You saw him crying, saying he was so hurt. He still has on his Facebook page here, right? A few months after the accident, he looks fine to me, all right? May 28th, 2 months after the accident, he's out and about fine. I don't know you, but if I'm really bad out, I'm staying home in bed. I'm not just going out and about, right? And you say, oh, he wasn't there, right? Iris said so. It was a blessing and honor to have your presence here at Memorial Service. Thank you so much, dear brother. So he went. He was out and about May 28th, a couple months later, not just crying, oh, my wife's a saint, blah, 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 right? The proof is in the pudding, right? But it's facts, something you can prove to be true. How you do it? With evidence, direct evidence, video with corroboration, documentation with corroboration, contemporaneously. Eyewitness testimony is the worst. So you gotta have like 10 people. We have 5 hearing his stories. We see that type of stories. So again, go ahead.
He thought he could get away with this.
Right.
He thought he could get away with, but with our investigation, we found out about it. And he was surprised, like, how did they find out about it? Well, we did. That's why he denied and he lied. And now that it's very clear that we have the documents and the settlement, he now cries. And he cried July 6th about it, or excuse me, July 20th about it. And he turns it around that his wife and his daughter are victims. Well, Scott, it's because of the situation you created, okay? We never went after your wife and your daughter. You're the one that filed the $550,000 and put $150,000 in your back pocket. Don't turn this around like that. But that's, folks, that's him. That's what he does time and time again. You go to the city council meeting, you give him facts and things like that. He turns it around that you're the bad guy. Okay, when you
With
tell the
broad generalities, never specific.
when you go to city council, you give him black and white, like, why are we spending this when it should cost us this? He gets all defensive. He says, well, there you go again, and all that. I go, that's what I'm supposed to do. I come here with facts and figures, but whatever I do. And how does he end the thing? We got to end this cancel culture. What does cancel culture have to do with a $550,000 lawsuit? See, that's how he gets all mixed up on stuff. He just like, he's constantly spinning. And he shouldn't have the position. He really should.
It's your tax money,
Right.
right? And people are listening throughout the country, people are watching throughout the company. There's your Scott voice in your city council and on your county board. You're gonna have to do your own research, and it's your tax money. Flint, Michigan was once a nice place.
So was in Bell, California, until those councilmen figured a way to scheme and drain it. And guess who their city attorney was? Best, and Krieger. They were on the sidelines watching the whole thing collapse. And we've got the same one with Mel Richardson as our city attorney for years, and watching this whole circus go by. And we paid them $1.2 million.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna
BBK
close, but we're
for
gonna close
12
with
months.
this.
That's $100,000 a month. Mel, you ain't working $100,000 a month in hours. And if there's any kind of settlements, that's on top of it, folks. Just a BB&K, Best and Krieger's law firm, the city of Lake Forest, $1.2 million. I'm not exaggerating, it's right there. Divide that by 12, that's $100,000 a month. That's a lot of dough, folks. It's going out the other end. Money coming in, money going out, and it's not going to you.
That triggered something. We'll close with this. We'll watch this video and get the reaction.
Yeah, this is excellent.
This is bad on so many levels, right?
So this is Mel Richardson, the left-hand corner, squirming in his seat as at the July 6th when I'm asking Voigt's questions. And what's Mel? He can't talk, but he's going to send baseball signals. Watch, see, right across the lips. You need to be quiet. And sure enough, Richard, he stopped. So,
Right. And it was the problem with this is that and this is the guy, he's a lawyer, so he needs to know the Constitution, right? So he is not an elected official. This is that's why reason he's not talking, because this is against the law. But nobody was watching. Then at the other city council meeting, they're not giving you this view, so they can break the law. They think they're above the law, you know?
but there he is, giving a thing to tell him to be quiet. And right after that, he's quiet.
Right. You can't do that. And Neves was watching it. Neves actually a straight shooter. That's why you see that impression on his face. He's like, this is fucked up. He gave a presentation to Indiana, but he's like, this is ridiculous. There you go. And he thinks he's smart. Nobody's watching. We were born one day, but it wasn't yesterday, Mal. You watch that again? Yeah. Come on. That's kind of showing that they're in trouble, my friends. They're in trouble. They know they're in trouble. There's probably things that we don't even know about because we got regular jobs, we got regular lives. But do your research. Freedom is not free. We saw what happened January 6th. Some people are gung-ho for a civil war. So things can get real. Even if you're in a Podunk town, this is a relatively small town. When you see what's going on. Any last words, Andy O'Connor?
We're a small town. We shouldn't be going through this
No,
drama.
not at all.
This drama.
Not at all. It
But
should
we
be
got
very
a guy
boring.
here that knows the weakness and where to catch the dough, and that's exactly what he's doing.
With taxpayers' money,
And
that's
his
the
wife's
problem.
in on it too. And they cry, victim, victim. Well, they didn't call victim when they got that check for 150,000, did they? But when they got found out, now it's oh my God, we're victims. No, the taxpayers are victims. Sorry.
Yeah, she doesn't want to get involved, but she did put her name on the lawsuit.
Exactly.
And taking taxpayers' money. This is
Right.
not a business you started
Right.
and she's doing well. It's
Right.
taxpayers' money.
Right. Her name was on the original front page, top left-hand corner to the Orange County Superior Court. And she also signed that she received the settlement. Scott got 135,000. She got $15,000 for emotional damages. Oh my goodness. So, yeah. I guess
It is a
Elon got
stop.
yeah. So I guess she's driving around that Mercedes SAV.
And you got workers' comp claims,
Right.
the insurance company selling it back, and who knows what else is out there. However, Andy and I are old, so we know it's a business decision. You always get a lot more by giving than getting. As a British lit major, I always close every podcast with Sir Winston Churchill. We make a living from our labor, but we make a life from what we give. Listen, Scott voice. Thanks for listening to the I Love South Orange County podcast and the video. All right. Any feedback, as always, let us know.